The sun is shining, there's snow on the ground on the 23rd of March. Oh, I love Michigan. And I just won a pretty good chess game, where in the endgame, I had a bishop and a knight versus a rook, and I managed to coordinate my pieces well enough to end up winning the game. And yes, I do have an avocado blanket over the window so that the exposure in this shot is not horrendous. Now let's hop into the game. So I'm playing with the white pieces. We have e4, d5, and then takes, knight f6. This is a little Scandinavian defense from black, a little Scandi action. Now I just play, I like to play just like knight c3 and d4 and just say, look, you're trying to play this stupid, crazy, weird little opening where you, sacrifice a pawn in the beginning just cause, and then win it back. I don't care. I'm not going to try and hang on to the pawn, right, with like c4 or any of that nonsense, because then black is going to start playing weird stuff, and I don't want to calculate any of this. So I just play knight c3. Give back the pawn. I don't care. I also don't really want to take this and do this because it's like, it's what black wants. Black wants to bring out the queen, and I don't want to give black what they want. So instead I just take the center with d4, and I say, look, if you take me here, I get a nice little center, I get the b file, and life is good. I'm gonna play bishop, d3, knight f3, castle, bring a rook to the e file, and just have a pretty nice game. Now he doesn't do that. Instead, just develops to c6. I play knight f3. Okay, we're just developing pieces. Now here, should have played something just like bishop e2, break the pin, so my knight still defends the pawn. And if like takes, I'm still just kind of chilling. And if this, the c pawn always defends the d4 pawn. But I felt like being a little spicy. A little spicy. So I play bishop e3, inviting black to take. And now I've got two center pawns. Black only has one. Good job, me. And I figure if I can castle my king at any point, I get the f-file. Or even if I don't, or if I castle long, spoiler alert, that's what I do, I get the f-file. Ah! That's not how rooks work. The f-file. If you see the blanket moving, it's because my cat is having a ball over there. He's like, what is this new thing over here? I'm going to play with it. Anyway. We have e6, preparing to develop the dark squared bishop for black. My cat, jeez. Anyway, bishop e2 just breaks the pin, develops this piece, gets ready to castle. Now, here black does have this annoying little sequence of moves where after takes, there's queen h4, check, which is fine. Like, I'm not too worried because I just play g3. The only, annoying part is now if I castle kingside, my king is going to be a little bit weak, with the dark squares. But let's see how it unfolds. We have queen g5 and queen e2 defends the e3 pawn, which was indeed under attack. And, I'm just getting ready to castle long. I don't really want to do it here because if I do, then, it's not the worst thing in the world. Having my king open like this, it's not the best. I mean, I'm probably going to want to run and get my rooks over here and, maybe hide amongst the wall of pawns in the center. But none of that happens. Instead, I just play a3 and I say, look, if you're going to take me now, do it before I castle, right? Do it before I castle. So now I can just move my rook over here, bring my queen. I would love to get a queen over here and put pressure on this knight before black is able to castle with the bishop as well. But that doesn't happen. Also, look at those pawns in this line. Look at the pawns just defending each other. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Engine says it's equal, but I would prefer white here with the light squared bishop, the dark squared pawns, controlling all the different color complexes. You got the open files you're working with. You get the F file, and black is not going to be safe, really, no matter which way he castles. And these pawns are launching forward anyway. But alas, all of that is moot because it didn't happen. So we have a3, bishop goes back to d6, and now I castle long. Now that the bishop didn't even go back to a5 and keep the pressure on the knight, it went back, and I'm like, okay, now I'll castle. Yeah, now I'm going to castle, and now I'm chilling. I am big chilling. We have castles short from black, and now I play h4. Now, isn't that just a free pawn on g3? No, because that's a queen that you would then lose. At least I thought. There's knight d4, and if you take Oh, what? Oh, no. What? What? I mean, it's still fine, but like, it's, oh my goodness. I didn't see that line. Oh man, I figured the queen was just trapped. I figured this, and the queen has no squares, but there's this knight d4. Nobody's seeing that. Not at 1800. Well, I mean, maybe. Maybe. That's a longer time format. But anyway, all of that doesn't matter. Instead, the best move here would have been to take this first. And then if they take, the queen is now trapped. And you have to give up the queen. Or instead of taking the bishop back, you have to drop the queen back and just, settle for this nonsense here, right? This is just no bueno, because you're just gonna push, block out the dark squared bishop, get the queen in here and the rooks, and it's just gonna be bad news bears for black. But anyway, all of that was hypothetical. Instead, black got scared and went back to e7 with the queen, looking to sacrifice the bishop over here on a3, which black does. It doesn't work. It just straight up doesn't work, because after king d2, the knight is defended, and you're trying to attack me with just a queen, and the knight, is not scaring anybody, because the queen is going to get basically trapped, right? And it's not going to work. You go bishop e4, you defend the pawn on c2, and I'm just going to go ahead and checkmate you while you're busy over here twiddling your thumbs. So, takes, king d2. Now, we have e4, black trying to shred open the center of the board to get to my king, which is now, looking a little strange on d2. But it's okay. I'm going to move my rook over to a1, kick the queen out real quick, and then play d5, shutting it down. Shut the door. Shut the front door on black. I don't want the center to rip open at all, because that would be absolutely idiotic. Instead, I shut it down. Now, the knight isn't actually under attack because the pawn is pinned, but, the rook comes over, and I play queen c4, adding another defender to the pawn, and hoping for some kind of like knight b5, knight e4, something. Now, here, I should have gone something like rook hb1, switch my attention over to the queen side over here with the two rooks, and just kind of say like, hey man, I got the rooks on the file. You're going to try and push your pawns. It's not going to work. I'm up a piece, right? You sacrificed a bishop, remember, for these two pawns, which are just going to get stopped. And don't forget about the fact that these pawns are rolling, and this checkmating idea is always there. So I should have gone for something like that, and then, some line like this, and go into an endgame where, I'm just up a piece for two pawns, and I am chilling. But instead, I was kind of indecisive. I was like, okay, I could do that, or, I've got these pawns, and I want to, like, checkmate black, because that looks very appealing. But also I have to worry about my king, and I've got these, one-move knight threats, which I ended up, going for one of those, because me attack queen, right? Me attack queen. Queen just move out of the way, right? It would have been better to go back to d7, but anyway, the queen goes to f6, and I get my king off of the d file, just to avoid, any nonsense with the pin, and also just the rook is staring at my king, and my king is like, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look at him, right? And it just keeps going. But instead, I move my king off of the d file, and c6, trying to open it up again, but remember, I am up a piece. I am, and that piece is a bishop. And you know what bishops love? When their diagonals get opened up, which this does. Beautiful. Take. And here, tactics start kind of, flying around the board a little bit. I should have just gone back to c3 with the knight. And after something like queen to g6, play knight e4. And, we're just kind of chilling at this point. Bring the rook over to a6. And you're just going to, tear apart black's position over some time. But instead, I played g5 first. I was like, let me hit the queen. The queen moves. And here I was a very silly person, and I took on a7 with the rook, which just is so bad. It's just so bad. Why is it bad? Because of this. Okay, but yeah, if this, it's back rank mate. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. But here's the thing. After rook takes, you don't have to take the queen. You take the rook first. And now I'm down a point of material. I'm down a pawn at this point. And we got this pass pawn I got to worry about. And, well, king takes is better, so you don't get that pass pawn. But then, you know, like rook a3. And this is just like, what? I was winning. I was winning. Why am I now losing? What is happening? I'm about to get mated over here in a few moves. This is not appealing at all. So why did I do that? Well, I was a fool. If I weren't a fool, I would have played knight takes a7, winning the pawn all the same, but none of that nonsense happens. But my opponent didn't go for any of those lines. Instead, didn't know what to do and played knight to f5. Just cuz, you know, knight f5, which actually threatens something that I didn't even see because I had tunnel vision. I was like, let me take the rook. Let me get out of this mess because I kind of saw something fishy was going on. Something Bobby fishy was going on. And there is this, after takes, queen takes c6, there is this knight g3, which is still fine, but it's annoying because then it's a fork and you have to move the king and walk into another check. And if you didn't do that, then you're walking into another check, and it's even worse because you just fully lose the rook at that point. Well, actually, or the queen. I don't know. I didn't analyze this. But knight g3 check and takes the rook with check. I take with the bishop, right? Continuing to defend my queen with the bishop all the way out here. And, you know, queen f5 check, whatever, king g3. And the rook moves, hit the queen. And finally, I get to trade the queens. I've been wanting to do this for so long. I'm up material. Let's go. I slide the bishop back, keeping everything defended, and let's see what happens. I take here, and now I'm planning on just marching my king up the board. And we do just that. I bring the knight back into the game, right? Because the knight on b5 isn't scaring anybody. It will be scaring some people over here on the king side. So after h6, which is a bad move, by the way, because I just get to play h5, which always gives me the ability to defend the pawn with my bishop, and your king is never getting through. The rook goes to a7, trying to, you know, swing around this way and attack my pawn, my king, just try and do something to hang on. But after just knight takes f6, what are you going to do? You're gonna give me a little check? I don't care. The knight defends the pawn, silly. The knight defends the pawn. Rook back. Okay. e4. Yes, that blunts my bishop and turns this into a little weird boomerang looking thing. That's not really a boomerang. A boomerang would be like something like that, maybe. Yeah, but anyway, it's a little line with pawns and bishops. It's super solid, don't get me wrong. Like the pawn defends the bishop, which also defends the pawn. That's a, you know, mutual beneficial relationship there. And then the bishop defends the pawn here, and it's all tied together. But the bishop is kind of blunted. But who cares? The knight defends the pawn, and you're never kicking my knight away, right? So after this, now he is threatening to win my knight. So I just give a check. King back, knight d6, attacks my pawn. Okay, take the pawn. I don't care. I'm going knight f5. You're never going to promote this because I can always like sacrifice my knight if I have to and try to win this endgame without these pieces on the board here. Different colors, how about that? But black isn't even going to get that far because I just pushed the e-pawn. That e-pawn is going. There's nothing you can do to stop it. The king moves to e8, but after just bishop b5 check, e7. Game is over. Black resign. Winning with the knight and bishop versus rook. How about that? Well, hey, if you made it to the end of this video, as always, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. Tell me what kind of videos you'd like to see in the future. Leave a link to a game of yours if you want me to look over it. And check out one of these videos floating around up here somewhere. And have a great day.